My name is Anna Dushime. I live in Berlin, Germany, and I have the honor and pleasure to guide you through this incredible panel. I'm going to briefly introduce everyone, and then we're just going to get started with the program. So we have Marie-Chantal Uitonze, who is a political advisor to MP Louis Michel and founder of African Diaspora Network. Then next to her is Sangwa Rwabuhihi, who's software engineer and an IT entrepreneur. He's based in Germany. Then we have Minister Jean-Philbert Nsengimana, who is Minister of Youth and ICT. Next to him, we have Yolanda Ujeneza, who's a senior business controller and a future novelist. I hope she's going to tell us a little bit more about her novel later. And then, last but certainly not least, we have Edouard Bamhorichi, Member of Parliament, who also brought a little bit of a gift to us, a little addition to the introduction.
Right now?
Yep, do it.
Rutavukana imbundi imbere y'abasorerwa mudasongerwa sinsubirizwa inkaka sinjya mpindagara habyutse imboga imbirizi nazimaze mu ruzi.
So this panel is called Bridging Generations and Shaping Our Future. And I think we have an excellent mix of people to tell us a little bit about that. I want to give the word to Minister Jean-Philbert, who has some opening statements for us just to set the tone for this wonderful, wonderful evening, wonderful day.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm so happy to be part of such a youthful panel. It's one of the advantages of being a Minister of Youth, of course. So, baca umugani mu Kinyarwanda ngo utaganiriye na se ntamenya icyo sekuru. Ndagira ngo nsobanure ariko hano ntabwo ndi se, ndi grand frère. So, we've been asked to reflect a bit about this theme of bridging generations and shaping the future. And when I reflect about this theme, there are 4 elements that kept coming to my mind that I think are very important to shape the strategy for the future for this generation. Experts like to use something called SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But mine is rocks. I want to reflect on the risks, opportunities, challenges, and strength. But let me start from the last. Time allowing, I will probably talk about the rest. So, what is the biggest strength of this generation? Angaha ndagira ngo mvuge yuko iyi generation irubatse cyangwa se irubakitse. Urubyiruko rwacu ruri gukura muri iki gihe. For the last 100 years, I think it is the first generation yubakiye ku musingi w'ubunyarwanda bwuzuye. And I remember when I was growing up somewhere in the western province of Rwanda, there was this time where we had a lesson called Uburere Mboneragihugu. And I remember the first lesson used to be to teach us who we are. And they used to ask us guhaguruka according to ubwoko. Icyo bitaga ubwoko, abahutu muhaguruke, abatutsi muhaguruke, abatwa muhaguruke. You remember that? Abakuriye mu Rwanda barabizi, and the names that some of us had. Bamhorichi, ngira ngo araza kuvuga ku izina rye. So, Ubunyarwanda is the foundation that this generation is built on, and it's a very solid foundation. It's actually a weapon against those who want to destroy, who still dream about that day where they can tear us apart like they did back in '94. So, again, let me give an example. Ejo bundi twari Canada, Minister Francis atanga ikiganiro kuri Ndi Umunyarwanda, akora statement ivuga yuko, aravuga ngo muve mu by'amoko, muve mu buhutu, mu bututsi no mu butwa, twinjire mu Bunyarwanda. Ndi Umunyarwanda niyo ntwaro izatsinda abanga bose igihugu cyacu. Akimara gukora iyo statement kuri social media, ibigarasha birasara. Ngo twarabivuze, ngo none nimubyiyumviye, ngo twababwiye ko Kaboneka ari umwicanyi, ngo noneho intwaro yazizanye muri Canada, ngo mwishinganishe. Ibyo bintu ni ibintu byanditse, ntabwo ari ibintu mpimbye. So ubunyarwanda, I think it is the biggest strength that this generation has. So ba petit frère, iyi ntwaro ntazagira uyibambura. One thing about the challenges, I think the biggest challenge for this generation is to be able to sustain the progress that our country has made over the last 20 years or so. Because the generation that liberated our country, they didn't have so many resources. They just started with a few resources, just an idea, a belief, a commitment, a determination, and they made so many sacrifices to be able to liberate the country from the ashes, to build one of the fastest growing economies in Africa, the least corrupt country in Africa, the most competitive environment in Africa, the most secure country in Africa. So you guys, when I look at you, and of course I look at myself as well, I think it is the biggest challenge for us is to be able to sustain that spirit of innovation that took us where we are today. But also protect what you have achieved. I'm saying protect, why? Protect because there are people out there who want to destroy. Ariko noneho, I invite you to read a book by a professor, an American professor called Noam Chomsky. Wabagifite uzarebe ahantu kuri page 20. The title is The Threat of a Good Example. And Professor Chomsky says that there are certain countries, powers of this world, that have an interest that Africans and developing world in general remain where they are, so that they are always seen as the solution to a problem. We've been taught to rely on those who sometimes, on those who spoiled us or spoiled our wealth and killed us. So when there is a country that can demonstrate that we can be self-reliant and independent and finally interdependent, that is a threat. And especially when that country is small. Niko byanditse muri icyo gitabo. It's even a bigger threat because others will say, niba se bariya babikoze, twebwe byatunanira. So I think this generation needs to fully understand that threat and be able to mitigate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. I think what you said about threats is really important, but I want to concentrate on something that could give us a little bit more hope. And I think one of the things that you said, that we need to work on remaining competitive. We need to work on remaining a force to be reckoned with. So I would like to ask Marie-Chantal, what do you think about this from an entrepreneurship point of view, from a creation of jobs point of view? How would you position yourself about this?
Bravo. I think that shaping the future is a huge concept, and I would like to focus on two important aspects in terms of shaping the future. I think you have entrepreneurship and you have job creation are key ingredients for shaping the future. YAF is the driver of every country's economic growth. And YAF is the future. We say it in Rwanda as well. Urubyiruko cyangwa u Rwanda rw'ejo ni urubyiruko. And I think that if we want a future that is sustainable, that is economically strong, we need to invest in YAF, and I would like to draw some recommendation in terms of entrepreneurship, promotion, and job creation. Boosting YAF entrepreneurship starts by enhancing the level of education, providing trainings, programs that are tailored to most productive sectors, and of course, promoting YAF involvement and YAF inclusiveness. This panel is a great example of YAF inclusiveness, and I think that we have to be proud of the way Rwanda is working in terms of promoting the YAF involvement and the participation of YAF in policy design. I can say that YAF is a golden opportunity for industrial catch-up and sustainable growth. To make this become a reality, every country, or Rwanda particularly, have to promote investment in terms of human capital and pro-YAF social services, promoting inter-university exchanges between Rwanda and African countries, and also between Rwanda and the rest of the world, recovering Rwandan traditional productive sectors, increasing, for example, the productivity of small farmers, and accelerating the transition from manufacturing economy to a processing industrial-based economy. Boosting modern sectors like services, improving the productivity of art industries. I would like to say a word about art industries. We still have less progress in terms of artistic industry, and I think that this is a key sector that requires no much more investment, because it is based on natural value, natural ingredient that every nation can access easily. So I would advocate for the promotion of arts sector. I would also advocate for establishing and modernizing recruitment agencies and supporting service for young job seekers, improving the business environment and establishing fiscal policy that are pro-YAF entrepreneurship, reducing barriers to the access of YAF to credit and property, making YAF employment a key priority for international cooperation. I think this is very important. If we want Africa or Rwanda move away from aid dependency, we have to focus on the force we have, and YAF are the big power every country has. And last but not the least, strengthening entrepreneurship skills. I think that we all commonly agree that investing in education, investing in technology is also a key motto for getting to these goals. I will not extend on that. I think my colleague will also develop on this aspect. I thank you very much.
Thank you. I think Sangwa is our resident IT go-to person. So, and he's a software engineer, so he can take it away from here and tell us a little bit how technology can help us shape a society we want to live in and a society we want to grow as a people.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I think the role that the youth has to play in terms of entrepreneurship in the IT domain is quite clear. Let me just share this story with you. I was in Kigali last year, and I wanted to take a cab to go to some place. And as we reached the destination, I realized that I didn't have any cash with me. And so I started to panic, and the driver looks at me and he says, "But don't you have mobile money?" And as one of the people in diaspora, I didn't know really what mobile money was all about. So the future in terms of technology is already happening in Rwanda in one way or another. But I would like also to just say one thing. If I ask most of the people in this room what they did this morning, I think most of you were on WhatsApp with a brother in the UK or a sister in China shipping products. So we actually have such a global life, an everyday life, and we take this for granted. And I think we are somehow the product of a certain past where we actually enjoy the fact that we speak so many languages and we have these multiple identities. And I think in one way that past helps us to shape the future, because the future is going to be about multiple identities, multiple locations, multiple homes. You're going to wake up in Kigali, work in Berlin, and come back in the evening in Kigali again. So who else can understand this future life better than we do? And the kind of challenges that will come with this mobility and this, what my friends and I call borderless living. So I would like to challenge you to think not only of products that we can produce for our markets, the Rwandan markets, the East African markets, but for the entire world, because we are the ultimate 21st century citizens. We are globalized, we are connected, and we can invent the products for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sangwa. So speaking about being international by nature, is what you said, that Rwandans, we're already connected, very warm, it's true, and we keep our contacts. We already have this network going for ourselves, and we're very natural at it as well, so I really want to add on that. I would like to know, Yolanda, because it's all very in theory right now, but I want to know, what can we do here? We're the youth in diaspora, we're the youth abroad. We want to shape our future, we want to play a part in the future of Rwanda. How do we go on about this? Tell us.
That's an interesting question. I think this panel, Bridging Generations, I'd like to say, for example, one of the biggest bridges that the human ever created is education. Education is a bridge where the older generation transfer some knowledge to the youngest generation. So what we can do as Rwandans from abroad, from the diaspora abroad, is to transfer our knowledge to Rwandans of Rwanda. But I also believe that when we will transfer the knowledge to Rwandans, we will also gain some knowledge, the knowledge of our country, the knowledge of how things work in Rwanda. So I think it will be in two directions. So that's the first area in which we can act as young people. The second area, for example, today, it's a bridge. We have our grand frère, like his minister said. I think it's our role to also challenge the older generation, challenge them on the legacy that they will leave to us, discuss with them on how we can build the Rwanda of tomorrow, and also bring a new energy, new ideas in the development of the country. The third thing I would like to say is that we should not be afraid to be risk takers. Let's take risks. I have, for example, so many friends who were living in Belgium in their comfortable life, and then one day they told me, Yolanda, I'm leaving. I'm going to Rwanda because this is where I feel I should be, right now, and then I see some of them today coming back and having organized this Rwandan Day. And personally, I would like to say a big up to them, because I know what they are doing to construct the country. You also have some other people who took the risk in different business areas and who decided to leave everything. So I think this should be the role of the youth to still have that kind of dreamer attitude and do things that have a big risk. So in the end, I think also as young people, everybody can tell us what to do, but I think everyone will have to take like kind of personal decision. I have a story about that of a lady who entered into a store, and then she saw two dresses. There was one red dress. She really loved it. She felt it was her dress, but it wasn't fitting her size. And then she saw another blue dress, and then she finally took that dress because her size was there. And then I think and then she's explaining that it was the wrong decision because she was settling. Why not today, if we are not finding something in our size? I think as young people, we have to create it. We should never settle and say, okay, I'm going to take this because it's better than nothing. So that's, I think, what as young people we can do for Rwanda today.
That's a very good point, thank you. So you talked about challenging the older generation. Yes. I'm not calling you old, but I would like to give it back to you and ask you, Rwanda has such a rich history. We have a past that we all know about. Can you tell us a little bit about what we can learn from our past and how it can help us shape the future that we want and shape the society that we want to live in?
Thank you very much, moderator. It's a great pleasure to be in front of you. I'm not an old man to tell the story or the history of Rwanda, but if you have a willing of telling the story of Rwanda, doesn't matter you are old, but it's a matter that you can tell what you know. If you really want to understand the conflict, the hate, and the history of Rwanda, you don't go far from the names of Rwandans. If you can check your names, you will really understand how the conflict took place from families. If I mention your name, it's not by bad intention. Don't be against me. But you should understand some conflict in our names. Bamoriki. Bazimaze iki? Bihoye iki? Rwaje kare. Bapfa kurera. Mbarimo mbazi. Zikamanwa abanzi. Nzihonga, nzihorera, Rwango, rwaje kare, ngura inzira, and byabara umwanzi. Is it? Yeah. Oh, I'm very sorry. Ngurinzira is her father. And, so actually,
I do find it's a good name. It's kind of also a name that also explain about bridging. Eh?
So, but the way the government of Rwanda is trying to break the cycle of violence, again you go back to the names of today. Hirwa, Keza, Mahoro, Mbabazi, Muhoza, Mugisha, and Ibyishimo. It will not be easy for me to call my son Bamoriki. Bande, why? So going back to the history of Rwanda, I just want to quote a wise man. He was a king. Umwami witwa Rugwe. Kirima Rugwe yavuze ibintu bikomeye, reka mbisome uko biri, kandi abakuru nimungaya mungorore. I can see the old people here. Mwumva uko yavuze. Yaravuze ngo abakogoto bawe Rwanda beme baramvure imiheto n'imyambi bakotanira u Rwanda ejo amahanga atatwunama hejuru. Nyuma y'imyaka, after generation and generations, His Excellency the President of Rwanda Paul Kagame in Boston yaravuze ngo uhinga mukwe ntasigana. Ariko ibyabaye hagati y'iyi myaka y'igihumbi 320 n'imisago n'igihumbi 1994 ntabwo ushobora gutekereza ko hari habanje ubwenge hagaheruka ubundi. Twagize ibyago byo kugira abayobozi babi bashyigikira imigambi mibi y'abagashaka buhake n'abaje gukoroniza igihugu cyacu. Abakurambere bacu, ababyeyi bacu bagwa mu mutego wo kwemera ko icyari social classes nk'ubuhutu, butwa n'ubututsi bihinduka etini. U Rwanda tugira etini, tugira race. Actually abirabura bose ngira ngo duhuje iyo race y'ubwirabura, ariko tugwa mu mutego uko bihinduka ubwoko birazamuka bitugeza kuri jenoside yakorewe abatutsi. Ko twari twamaze kugwa mu mutego wo kwemera ko umuvandimwe w'abamoriki ufite inka 11 abo umututsi bikajya muri ID ikaba identity ye, hanyuma bamoriki ufite 3 akaba umuhutu. Turabyemera, abakurambere bacu barabyemera, tubivukiramo, biza kudukurira kaga katumye jenoside ikorerwa abatutsi muri 1994. So ngira ngo umuntu ashatse guhina amateka yacu ntabwo ari kure y'ikinyoma cyadushegeshe kikatugeza kuri jenoside yakorewe abatutsi. Ariko uburyo u Rwanda, Abanyarwanda bazi uruyuzi ubundi bavuga ko rupfa rimwe, iyo wemeye ko rwongera rukuma ngo ntirugaruka. Buriya dukwiye kugira imbaraga nyinshi zo kutemera ko u Rwanda ruzongera kugwa mu mutego uwo ari wo wose, kuko gupfa ukazuka ukongera kwizera ko n'upfa urazuka biba ari ikibazo gikomeye. Twarapfuye tugiye gushiramo umwuka turazuka. Aho rero ahaturiza izo mbaraga ni mu bwitange, ni igihango cy'amaraso abana b'inkotanyi bamennye, ni igihango cy'amaraso abashatse kuprotegitinga abantu ngo badapfa bamennye. Utumvisha ayo mateka yacu ngo hagararane natwe, ubwo abantu bangana batya ntabwo twakemera gutsindwa, kuko utemeye amateka batagira igihugu, utemeye amateka batagira aho akomoka, utemeye amateka abatifuza ko hari abazamukomokaho. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to summarize it a little bit. I want to summarize it just really quickly for those who don't understand Kinyarwanda. Our past is based on lies. Our older generations were misguided led to thinking that social classes translate in ethnic minorities and different ethnic groups. This is not the case, but as we've seen, that Rwanda was able to rise from the ashes, and the people like us, the people that were able to build on the sacrifices that were made by other people for us so that we can sit here in this room, we are really, truly a strong people. I think that kind of captures the essence of it, I would say. Okay, thanks. I want to speed this up a little bit because we are already behind schedule, I was told. I want you guys to go into examples again. So we've heard so many different things and so many really important things. Chantal, I want you to elaborate a little bit about how do you see Rwanda's role as a global and an African player? You talked about this before. I would like for you to go a little bit deeper into it, but short because time.
Thank you. Very powerful statement for Honorable Edouard Vanwalti. I would like to say that our past cannot define our future. We are stronger, and we are stronger because we pass through very hard moments, and Rwanda is still having something to bring to the world. We still have so many things we can teach the world, and I would like to highlight some of the role Rwanda can play in international stage. Concerning Africa, one of the main challenge for Africa is the lack of unity and solidarity when it comes to international relationship. We are living in the 21st century, and we are living after 50 years of development aid, and it's really a shame that African countries taken as a whole are still living on aid dependency. And I think that Rwanda has a very important concept, and such as the agaciro, that we can teach to the world and show them that Africa can develop by the force of its children, not the force of aid or unfair trade. I think that this is the very important thing Rwandan can bring to the world and to Africa. Another concept is self-respect. I think that if we are still living in a decade of domination, Western domination, is because some of African leaders still lacking self-respect. I can just quote one example. That was very shocking for me is when in Europe we all experienced the Charlie Hebdo incident. At the same time, there were in Nigeria 200 people that were killed by Boko Haram. Many African leaders were marching in Paris, but not so many sent maybe a press statement or any message of a message de soutien. I can say it in French because my English is weak. And they didn't really support Nigeria, and they were still thinking that Paris was more important more than what is happening on the continent of Africa. And one US official clarified when he was asked by CNN why the Western community is not moving so much concerning the incident in Nigeria, and he clearly said that Africa is not a priority. And I think that it's time for Africans to learn that Africa or Rwanda or any country is not a priority for West. Only African has to shape their own destiny, and it starts by teaching this to the youth. And I think that if we have youth that are very aware of this role they have to play in the international stage, we will have Rwandan that will lead the international community. And this is the hope I have, and also the conviction I have that we have so many things to teach to the world, and we can do it. Thank you.
Yeah. That was really powerful, and I agree with you 100%. So we have to start, put our self-respect first and make ourselves our number one priority. I want to ask Sangwa, do you think the reason why we maybe don't do that many times, or the reason why other people tend to look down on Africa or don't see us as a priority, what do you think has to do with it? Do you think it's because they don't trust our craftsmanship, they don't trust our talents, or they think, products coming from our continent are low? What do you think about that? Can you give us some insight?
That's a quite interesting question. I work for the German industry, medical and automotive, and I get asked many times, so what is the quality of what you do in Rwanda? How is it like there? I don't know. I think our biggest legacy from this generation that struggled is the fact that we are reactive. We are known for being people who do things fast. We're always challenged by the President of the Republic. Why should you do something tomorrow while you can do it today? But at the same time, our generation is also challenged to improve the quality of what we're doing. So it is our time now to define the right balance between improving the quality and keep up with the speed of development. And, just coming back to the comments of my colleagues, I think we have in Rwanda, in our culture, a sense of excellence, a sense of going further. We don't need to copy made in Germany quality or made in Japan. We can invent made in Rwanda. We can inspire ourselves. We can inspire ourselves from others. By the end of the day, it's going to be about us coming together and going back to the past. And I think this is a great way to go from the past to the future.
That's a good closing statement. I also think we should definitely not try and emulate what Germany is doing with Volkswagen right now. So we should probably aim for bigger and better things. Yolanda, I want to give you a little bit of a difficult task, but I think you're up for the challenge. If I were to finish this panel and finish Rwanda Day, and I go home and I want to have a to-do list about what I need to be doing as someone who's not living in Rwanda, I need some examples. Give me 5 things that I can do from Berlin, from Stockholm, or from wherever I am, how I can take part in Rwandan policy and be a good member of my society and my country. Okay, go.
Well, 5, it seems a bit of a lot.
We can also do
because
3. Let's start with 3.
Because especially as young, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you, join other young people and discuss about what you can do for Rwanda. I think here there are some examples. For example, I was part of some meetings of young professionals. What you can do, for example, you can join a young professionals group where you can, for example, Anne, you are a writer and a journalist.
Yeah.
You can meet other Rwandan writers and journalists and talk about the challenges in your professional area. I am a finance person. I can also meet other finance people and talk about what we can do in our area, how we can bring knowledge to our country.
So you encourage people to start a dialogue,
Yes,
find their
yes.
peers
I
and talk to
encourage
them.
people, because I don't have all the solutions, but I encourage people to brainstorm and everybody in his area, and then find what we can concretely do, knowing that there are already some solutions that exist of young people who invested in the country. I think, Sangwa, you were also telling that besides of working in Germany, you also have some business in Rwanda. It can also be something that young people can do. Of course, the more we network, the more we brainstorm, the more we can know what we can do in. So today, if you go home, please subscribe to the Young Rwandan Professionals of Europe. It's a group that exists on LinkedIn, and then we can connect each other and see what we can do in the future.
You all have to subscribe as well. It's not just me. Everyone has a task when they go home. Okay. So I think we've talked about opportunities. You've given us some examples, which is really good. Now I want to talk a little bit about what kind of responsibility do we have as youth. And I want to ask you again, as our Big Brother, part of the Big Brother panel, help us out. Tell us what kind of responsibility we have.
I would just say, the young people, those who were young during the genocide, those who born after genocide, I would just say, we are not responsible of what happened, but still, that's what happened, I mean, genocide and hatred and those bad stuff took place in our country. We are not responsible for that, but still, we have a big responsibility. We have a responsibility of rebuilding the nation. We have a responsibility of being heroes of Rwanda, because Rwanda needs you and needs me. Apart from that, I will just say, the young people of Rwanda, the young people of today, they are not young people of tomorrow, but parents and readers. To get there, we have to use more energy, we have to work hard, because we grew up in good hands. We don't have any excuse. So we really have to work hard, hard and hard. So being a wounded generation, but understanding the cause of what happened, it's really a very good foundation to rebuild our nation. Ending up my statement, I will ask the audience to say no.
No.
No. I just want to say something interesting. No. Dupfe nk'abapfapfa amapfunda apfobye.
No.
Ipfunwe ripfunyikwe ubupfura bupfurikwe. Dupfe nk'ibipfamatwi dupfunyitse ibyapfubye. Ipfunwe ripfunyikwe ubupfura bupfurikwe. Upfuye urupfu rwe rupfobye apfurikwe yepfo. So go back and liberate those youngs. The young people, I met some young people in Europe 2 days ago, buffeted their fathers who are criminals and the perpetrators of genocide. But these young people, they identify themselves as killers. It's wrong. So nta muntu ushobora guhemberwa kuri degree ya papa we. If you can't get salary from your father's degree, why can you identify yourself as a killer when you are not? So you are not your father, you are you. So I'm Edward, I'm not my father. Ntekereza ko igihugu kinyeneye namaze kwitandukanya n'ikibi niyo cyaba cyarakozwe n'uwanjye, niyo cyaba cyarakozwe na data, niyo cyaba cyarakozwe na mama, uwo yakoze ibye akontributinga muri negative we, nanjye nshobora gukontributinga muri positive we, nkaba nanakosora cyangwa nkubaka ibyo data yasenye. Ariko tugumanye spirit yo kuvuga ngo data ngo yakoze ibintu bibi, ngo kubera iyo mpamvu ngo nanjye ntaho nahera nkora ibintu byiza, it's wrong. Tubohora abana b'i Burayi, noneho tube babakogoto koko bagomba gukorera u Rwanda, twese turi hamwe twese, abakomeretse n'abakomoka ku bakomerekeje, ntabwo amahanga ashobora kutwunama hejuru. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you. I would like to, before we go into a Q&A situation where we take some questions from you, I would like to ask Minister again to tell us a little bit, because you started talking about strengths and challenges. I've been writing it down, everything that you said, but some things were missing. What about risks? Can you elaborate a little bit on that and tell us what kind of risks we need to be prepared for and how to face this?
Well, I think the biggest risk would be precisely to forget this history that Honorable Edward is talking about. We need to be a people that knows our history, so that at no point in our history, in time, we take anything for granted. I think if young people don't forget history, they can take things for granted, they can develop a sense of entitlement. And there is one thing that I often see, a mindset of that you can get rich quickly with minimal effort. It has never happened. So, ahangaha turi harimo umugabo twahuye ejo when we were meeting the business community. Bamwita Diodone urahari Sibomana? Bill Gates. Aha, nguriya Bill Gates. Uyu mugabo ni umujene aracyari mutoya, ejo bundi yaduhaye ubuhamya bw'ukuntu atunze miliyari. Akavuga ati ariko miliyari murayizi? Miliyoni 1000 muzi icyo ari cyo? Noneho aravuga ati iwacu ni ku Nkombo. Ariko uyu munsi Bill Gates ari hano Netherlands muri delegation ya ba rwiyemezamirimo baherekeje Perezida wa Repubulika muri Rwanda Day. Ari umuntu ushobora kumva yuko bwacya kubera ko yumvise story ya Bill Gates, nawe kumva yuko yabona nawe yaba Bill Gates cyangwa akabona ya miliyari atarushye. Ntago ibyo bishoboka. I think the message to the young people is keep the focus of this generation that has taken us where we are. Keep the discipline, keep the sense of purpose, keep the confidence, keep the hard work that has characterized this generation. And of course, keep indangagaciro z'umuco nyarwanda, which is cyane cyane ndashaka emphasizing ku kintu cy'ubutwari, to be able to make a sacrifice, n'ubupfura as the core values of our culture. So, rero kumva bavuga ngo kuva ku Nkombo ujya Amsterdam, it's almost a dream come true. It's a dream come true because normally these things happen in movies. You know, umva ngo Empress and New York, ukumva ngo Long Coat. So, from Nkombo to Amsterdam is the title of a movie.
I think I can't even add onto these closing words. They were very powerful and very inspiring. So instead of an official Q&A where you have to ask the questions and then we continue here, I encourage each and everyone in this room to approach everyone on this panel. Approach everyone, ask them your questions, find out about your to-do list, find out what is really meant by all these words and by all that was said today. I want to thank you so much for being a part of this. I want to thank this incredible panel. I think you did a great job. And yeah, I would just encourage everyone to find everyone later and ask your questions. And now we should go and mingle and have a good Rwanda Day 2015. Thank you so much.